Welcome, I'm Dr. Melina Roberts, and I want to talk about the inflammatory response and infections. Because with what's going on in the world today with the coronavirus, I think it's really important for us to understand how the immune system works and how the immune system mounts a response to an infectious agent like a virus. Because how our immune system works in terms of mounting that response against a virus, it does this in a very specific way. So what we have is these cells called white blood cells. And white blood cells circulate throughout our entire body, and they are there to protect us. They are our body's defense mechanism, and they play a huge role in terms of defending us and mounting an immune response. So we really want these white blood cells to be working well in order for our defense systems to be strong. Now, there's a certain type of white blood cell called a macrophage. And what a macrophage will do is it'll circulate throughout the body, and it is looking for things that shouldn't be there, like infectious agents. So if it sees an infected cell, because that's what happens with a virus, is a virus will go into a healthy human cell and infect that cell. Now, when the macrophage sees this infected cell, then what it does is it eats it. So it's kind of like a Pac-Man. So it eats that infected cell, and then it takes particles of the virus and it puts it on the surface of the cell into these cell receptors. And so now it is alerting the immune system what it needs to look for, what it needs to attack if it sees it. Now, what will happen is that we will also have these other immune cells called T cells. And these T cells will go to the macrophages and they will see those receptor sites. They will attach onto those receptor sites. They will grab that information about the virus particles, and then they will form a number of cell receptors on their cells. So then they are looking for these same virus particles, and then these T cells will start to replicate. So now we have created a huge army of cells that are looking for this infectious agent throughout the body. And now these T cells will now travel throughout our system. So these T cells are lymphocytes. So they are traveling throughout our system and throughout our lymphatic system, and they are specifically looking for this virus or these infected cells. And it knows exactly what it's looking for. Now, when these T cells find these infected cells, what they do is they start to release and promote the release of things called cytokines. And these cytokines are part of what is called an inflammatory response. But what these cytokines are doing is, with the release of those cytokines, the cytokines are working to kill that infected cell. So it work on breaking down that cell. And then we have another set of cytokines, which are more what we call anti-inflammatory properties of these cytokines, and they will clean up all of the tissues and help to flush those out. So we have those pro-inflammatory, this killing of those cells, and this anti-inflammatory process that helps to flush those out. Now, these cytokines need to be very targeted targeted, because that infected cell can look like a healthy cell, but we know that it's infected because it has this virus inside of it. But the cells, the T cells in our white blood cells, need to know that this is the target that it needs to be removing. So we have a very targeted response when this immune system is functioning properly. Now, if we have cytokines, if we don't have enough cytokines to come to this space, or if we don't have a properly functioning immune system, then we can't have a proper targeted response to this infectious agent. And if it's too low of a response, then your body can't effectively kill off that infected cell. And if the response is too much, then what can happen is we can get something called a cytokine storm. And this can also be an autoimmune picture. So it's where it's not a targeted response, or it might kill off that infectious agent, but it might also kill off a lot of other healthy cells. So there's a lot of damage happening within that system if we don't have a specific system that's very targeted. And what's also important in terms of this response that the body's happening is that it has to have a proper response. It has to have a proper on-off switch. So it needs to be on when it's trying to kill, and then we know it goes off in order to clean up the mess and help to ship that out of the body. So this is how the immune system should be functioning if the immune system is functioning properly. And remember, if it's all functioning properly, then it works really well in terms of mounting that inflammatory response. The immune system is doing its job in terms of picking up what shouldn't be there and helping to make sure that it moves effectively out of the body, and it will respond properly in terms of an infection or anything that's coming in from the outside of the body that shouldn't be there. So this is if we have a well-functioning immune system, and that's really what we're aiming to do. We're aiming to have a well-functioning immune system that's able to have a very targeted response and a proper on-off switch. All right, so thank you so much for listening. I hope that helps you to really get a clearer understanding of the inflammatory response and infectious agents in the body. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I encourage you to share this with your friends and family, to press the like button, to make a comment below, and until next time, continue to learn, grow, and build health.